Hello everybody. Welcome. Master Spas, Facebook Live. All right, we are back. The weather is brutal, so that I feel like the Wi-Fi and the service is not great, but everything is working correctly. So if we can get a shout out on the sound check, and you know what, I'm gonna shut that air conditioning off. I'll be right back.
Hi everybody. Who do we have today? Is it Caitlin?
Who's the babysitter?
Yeah.
We can reach the thermostat from the swim spot. Perfect. All right, if we get a sound check from someone, and everyone who's watching, let us know where you're watching from. We appreciate that. Today we're going to be talking about all things. Eddie, what's going on? Indoor installs. Sound is as good as the stash. Oh yeah,
said that?
Charlie said it. Charlie, clearly you are very enlightened, and I appreciate where your head's at. Awesome. There's two people who hate it. My mother and my wife. Everyone else likes it, and I like it. So it's a problem right now. All right. Melissa, how are you? Charlie, Eddie, what's going on, everybody? We've got 12 people on. We'll give people a minute to get back on there. We're beat up like crazy today. We back from vacation, 2 trainings today. We did CrossFit twice because we're stupid, and we're beat up, and we're getting older and still beating the crap out of everything, but that's what you do, right? So anyway, Jim, what's going on? How are you? All right. My mama. Hello, mama. Love you. We had our lunch on Monday. It was wonderful. Dan, from our outdoor 15D in Nebraska. Fantastic. Awesome. That's what we like to hear. So today is all indoor installs, correct?
Yeah, we're talking about indoor installs, yeah.
So my brain is Swiss cheese. She's the smart one.
Things to consider if you're planning on putting your swim spot inside.
And obviously any other questions you guys have, we're happy to talk about. So install questions. It always boils down to install questions. Certain models, we get a lot of the similar questions, but the thing is that people are cycling through in their where they're at, whether they're researching purchasing or whether they have already purchased and have specific questions about the models. You can pretty much ask us anything, and if we don't have the answer right off the cuff, we'll certainly have access to it super easily. But we're fairly experienced at this. Cindy Gilliam. And the Gilliam is spelled Gilliom. I'm IAM. That's interesting. I've never seen that before. Cindy, that's fun. Thank you for coming. Patricia, awesome. All right. Mary, you want to jump in here and start? I'm gonna go float around and enjoy myself.
You're gonna talk about things
what?
to consider.
You're gonna.
No. So we get a lot of questions about what do you do when you're putting a swim spot inside. What are some things you need to consider when you're talking about ventilation or condensation, and just what you want to think about when you are building a room specifically for having something with hot water in it. So there are definitely some things that you need to consider, and one of the things that we get asked a lot about is putting a swim spot in an existing building or an existing room or an existing basement. One thing that you do need to think about is the fact that this swim spa, which is a Challenger 15D, it's 15 feet long by 8 feet wide. It is 5 feet high. It comes in one piece. It comes as you see it. So it's not modular. It's not something that a crew puts together. Once it gets to your yard, it has to be able to get to a space with pretty limited equipment. So some installs require a crane to get it into a yard. A lot of deliveries are done with a pickup truck and a trailer. Some will even use some other special telehandler equipment and things like that. But when you're putting it into a room, they have to have enough space width-wise to get it in, to slide it in. And a swim spa really can't be put on its side like a hot tub can. So you just need to consider that when you're putting it indoors. That's an initial consideration.
Or so we've seen a couple of scenarios with this. Get out of here. So we've seen a couple scenarios with this where there's room for both of us.
Yeah.
Oh, there you are. So where if the house was already built, we've seen customers have a contractor open up the end, like a gable end of a house, so that we were able to extend it in. That's fairly easy as long as there's good access outside of that opening. We've seen people build after the swim spa, so like the cement was done, and then the swim spa gets put in place, and then they build around it, and they sort of left plans to remove a gable end if they ever needed to get it out of there for any reason, or didn't want it, or something like that down the road. So we've seen a lot of different scenarios. There's, it's one of those things where if you want it inside, money solves every problem when it comes to installs and construction. Anything can be done. You can have it any way you want. You may not like the price tag, but almost anything can be done. It's just a matter of whether that's realistic. So like for me, I do prefer it outside, although I will say, obviously we're inside now, and so we have a Challenger 15 at my house that's outside, and then we have a Challenger 15 that's inside here 20 minutes away from my house. We're spoiled. We understand that. So you can say it's okay. We understand we've got best of both worlds, so when it's crappy and raining and thundering out like it is now, well, we're inside and the water is fine. Yeah. So it's a pretty good situation. But there are lots of different ways to get them inside. But to Mary's point, and it's funny, I didn't even think about starting with that.
Oh, yeah.
It's not going through a doorway, which we do get that question at least once a week. Maybe once every 2 weeks, but that's a lot. Figure as many years as we've been doing this, that's a lot of people asking that question. They're not going in through a door. Okay, so that is for sure. But go ahead.
A second thing that we get asked a lot about is putting swim spas in garages. And we have definitely installed many swim spas in garages, and you do have the width. If it's a regular bay door, you definitely have the width, and you've got a great foundation there. The one thing to consider in a garage is the ceiling height.
Yes.
So there is the swim spa, depending on which swim spa you get, is either going to be 51 inches or 60 inches high, and you have a cover for that swim spa. So if you're doing a standard cover, you need to just think about the cover swing when you're opening the cover. Even if you have a cover lifter or not, you need to think about that, the cover swing. And if you have a deep swim spa, the swim spa itself is 5 feet above the ground, and let's say you have a 19 deep swim spa that's 19 foot long, each cover is
almost 5 feet.
Almost,
it folds.
Each cover is almost 5 feet. So you need, 5 feet above the swim spa, to open the cover.
Right.
So some people with a garage install will opt for a roll cover upgrade, so that they don't have to worry about that swing.
And the new roll covers so for outdoors, there's a couple of things that come into play. Personally, I prefer the standard snow load covers for outdoor installs because they're more efficient. With good cover lifters, they open up nice and easily, and if you have a deck next to the swim spa, they really open up easy. So it's always, the covers are always the trickiest part for all swim spas. But on an indoor situation, I'm a huge fan of the roll cover. It works great, still seals the humidity, and we'll get into that later. But the new roll covers are not nearly as expensive as they were, or the end-to-ends are. So they've really come down in price. So it's not such a kick in the butt now to do that. And I would just advise you on the roll cover thing outside, just understand it's not as efficient as the thicker covers. And also on the thicker covers, when you're calculating cover swing, so figure this is the top of the swim spa, the cover folds in half and then stands up on the end if you're using a cover lifter, or it folds in half and you slide it off manually, whatever you're doing. But what you have to understand is that if you were looking at the cross section of the cover, the hinge is on the top, not the bottom. So you have, let's say it was 5 feet each cover. When this one rolls up, it's 5 feet from the top, not the bottom. So people make the mistake of adding 60 inches and then the 5-foot cover. It's bigger than that. It's another 6 inches than that is. So always really overestimate the height you need indoors on the standard covers, because we've had so many people have to cut the cover and use it in sections because they were off a little bit. And on the swing, even if they're removing it and not using a cover lifter, on that swing, if it scrapes the ceiling or a light fixture or something like that, it's going to bug you. It's going to be a pain in the butt. Or it may be so severe that you can't even really open the swim spot without, sliding it off sideways, which is never going to be smooth.
Yeah.
So those are the considerations with the covers on the inside.
Yeah.
Also, I would like to add, we've had a lot of swim spas indoors from the beginning of filming this, as well as in showrooms all over the world. And one thing that we have done, it's always the moisture is the problem. So there was one scenario where we weren't running covers and we didn't want to install cover lifters on a demo model, and we actually used a thick, I want to say it was 5 mil plastic. It was a Home Depot sheet of plastic, but thick, and draped over the top of a swim spa. You push down into the center, and where it makes where it hits the water, it seals that moisture in, and did a fair job of sealing that moisture in, maybe even a great job of sealing that moisture in. And it was sort of but what you can't do is have it like in a pool, you see a solar cover where it's just where the water is, like you would cut it out the exact size of the swim spa water. That you can't do because it won't seal. It's the top of this, what we call the flange. It's this surface is what makes the seal, that air seal, and that's what has to be sealed up to stop the moisture.
In that situation, did you have a dehumidifier?
No.
Okay.
No, in that situation we didn't. But because the only time it gives off moisture is when the swim spa is open. If you're going to put a swim spa inside and it's going to be left uncovered permanently, which we do not recommend, you are going to have a moisture problem, and then you're talking about water that's heated on top of it. So it's not just like room temperature water, it's hot water. So it's always going to be, giving off much more than you think, and you would want to run a dedicated, real, big boy dehumidifying system. If you were going to leave it uncovered, you have to. It will wreck a house. Just like you've heard, you never buy a home that had an indoor pool in it, because the mold issue is always severe. And that's how you prevent that, is by sealing it with a cover when it's not in use. And then if that's the case, I would run a dehumidifier just when it was open if it was in my home. We had one in the gym years ago when we first started working with Master Spas. And that one, we only ran, it was a portable, it was a good size, so good, I think they measure those in CFM, I'm not sure. But it was a good size dehumidifier, portable on wheels, and we used to run that when it was open, when the swim spa was open, okay? So, let's see. Jan, I did see your comment where you did the carriage doors. It's awesome. I feel like we've either seen your pictures or we've talked about it before. Fantastic. So just super easy to deal with. Whatever comes up in life, no problem. Crack the doors open, you're good to go. I love it. It's great, and it's thinking about the future, because Jan, you know as well as I do, if you don't allow for it to come out or something's going to happen or change in your life where you have to deal with it. So you prevented that from happening to you by being prepared for any scenario, and I love that. Let's see, let's see. Let me hit that. There we go. Anita, I live in Arkansas and our pool is inside. Our garage worked out great. Large windows on 2 sides, wall between the pool room and the garage with a mini split to cool or heat the room. Love it, year-round use. So Anita, that was actually, I guess we're going into we're going into dehumidification right now. So love the idea of a mini split. The second part of what I was saying when we ran the dehumidifier in our gym, if we ran the air conditioning, so if we opened up that let me back up, in that space, and it was 4,000 or 5,000 square feet where it was. If you opened up the swim spa, and we weren't running hot temperature, it was like 83 degrees. I think 83, 84 is what we always kept that at, but warmer than the room temperature. If you didn't turn the dehumidifier on and you didn't have the air conditioning running, the windows in the front of the gym used to immediately get wet and have condensation on them. But as soon as you flipped on the air conditioning, it would take care of that. And the reason is that air conditioning also dehumidifies. So you can run, they do make separate systems that are, through ductwork that are just dehumidifying. They also make air conditioning, but air conditioning in and of itself also dehumidifies. So people aren't sure about that designation and what they do individually. But a mini split is just air conditioning, but most mini splits like mine, we run a 5-head mini split system at our house, and it has a dry setting, and it will take all the moisture out of that room, but it's doing it by air conditioning. Okay, so, and I will say this also, and Anita's probably gonna laugh when I say this, when we set our mini splits on dry, it's freaking cold in there because it's not temperature based, it's humidity based. And it makes the room, yesterday I had a sweatshirt on and long pants, and it was...
I feel like that's what my car does.
It could be.
Yeah.
It could be, and it just, I was freezing in the house in the summertime, and it was gorgeous outside, but it was so wet, so humid, that the thing was just taking all the humidity out of the air, and it does it by using air conditioning, and it was freezing in our house. So we were like, what the hell? It's freaking freezing. So that's how it works. But a mini split is a great way to run a swim spot inside and then just have a mini split in the room. We've had tons of customers do it. How I first learned about that, we've got a dealer in Boston, Crocker in Boston, and they're as bright as they come. They also have a construction side to their business. So they've been building homes and commercial buildings for years. Just have tons and tons of experience. They have a great construction crew, and that's their method. When they build an addition that's got a swim spot inside, they could encompass that entire project, and very few dealers can do that. Who else does that? Atlas will do it. Denver used to do it, I know, with Rich. So only a handful of dealers have that level of capability. So don't expect that. It's a whole different thing. But those guys up there are super bright, super locked in, and when I have a question, I will call the two owners of that and go back and forth, and they know what they're doing. So it's pretty fantastic. But that's their method too. The mini split just solves everything. You can put it on dehumidify, put it on heat, put it on cool, boom, all set. All right. So although, Anita, I do have to add that these were made for outdoor use no matter what the climate is. So we live in Connecticut, and mine is outside year-round, and it's fantastic. Okay, what do we got? I know I saw Jan. When we bought a few years ago, we were looking for spec sheets for this kind of information and didn't find any. Does Master Spas have them yet? You know, Jan, the problem with spec sheets on this stuff is every single install is different, and it's more, just getting that information. So we don't have any place where it's documented all these sort of rules, because rules is sort of a heavy word for what we're talking about here. Really what you're dealing with is experience, and some dealers will have tons of experience with indoor installs and some won't. They just didn't happen. Smaller dealerships may not have had that much experience in there. Although I will say anyone who is purchasing and running any of these projects, your dealer should be able to get you all this information. Most of them would just call me and go through it. I get calls all the time from dealers all over the place. Hey, what do you do for this? And it's been so long now that they don't call for this stuff anymore because it's sort of basic for them. So any dealer should have this information, but there's not like a spec sheet that's going to list what to do or based on square footage, or we get asked for cut sheets a lot. Good point. Actually, we just an hour ago got asked for cut sheets. They're not plumbing fixtures, so they don't have cut sheets like you would for a specific bathtub from a manufacturer. It just doesn't exist. This is more like an appliance that you just plop in. Okay, so but no, we don't have any of that, and I think it might be nearly impossible or certainly very difficult to do that because every scenario is different. Every climate is different. Are you in a dry climate? Is it just the swim spa humidity that we're dealing with, or do you have the factors at the outside? You really almost need an HVAC person who knows what they're doing to measure that for you. But we certainly have figured out how to do it ourselves anyway. But that'll be based on sort of dealer experience, if that makes sense. Let's see. Make sure we're caught up. We have a 15D arrived May 20th, 24, Sedona. Fantastic. 15D, most sold swim spot on Earth. Can't go wrong with that. All right, we're caught up. Okay,
cool.
Good. What you got? What's next?
Some other things that you may want to consider if you're putting an indoor install is just the flooring or some kind of mat, because here, for example, we have, I don't know what you call this, epoxy.
Oh, yeah, it
on
is.
the floor.
You know what? That's just a seal.
So yeah, so the floors here are cement, and there's a seal on the cement, and it is very slippery when you get out wet. Very.
Yes.
I have fallen. Ben has fallen.
I don't know if I've actually gone all the way down, but I've certainly strained hip flexors catching myself and shoulders.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes, it is like ice.
Yeah.
In here.
And
do that.
Right. And I mean, obviously, different installs are going to be different, but it's just one thing that you might want to think about in an inside install is to make sure that you have some kind of either flooring or mat on your floors around the swim spot where you're getting out specifically that gives you some traction.
Do you remember that indoor, it was a dual temp, I don't remember if it was a trainer or a challenger that we went to.
I think it was a Challenger 19.
That was in Fort Wayne. That was in Fort Wayne. It was actually near the factory. And that gentleman, his name is just escaping me right now. It's been a couple years. Did an amazing build out. So,
I don't know if Kayla's on there or not. If we're being babysat, but it is a previous Facebook Live.
Yep, we actually went to his house, and every material he used was based on being, non-slip, moisture-proof, mildew, mold-proof. I mean, this gentleman bought the best of everything. I mean, to the paint, the fixtures, the window frames, the window frames. Every surface was moisture-proof and moisture-resistant. I mean, he was running. I think he was running mini splits.
I believe so.
For dehumidification. I mean, he went all in, and it is gorgeous. But going to that level, he is never going to have. He just said, "Look, I could either deal with it now, or if I do something wrong, I'm going to have a mold issue, in 20 years that I don't want to deal with." He's never going to have that issue. It's gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. So, yeah, right on. All right. We had a sealer added on our concrete with added sand in the sealer, non-slippery.
Okay. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is a leased out. So they sealed it for us because it was just raw cement, which would probably be less slippery because it's old raw cement. But they sealed it up to make it pretty, and by doing that, made it like ice if you get water on it. But Lorraine, that's awesome. I didn't even know they could do that, because a lot of the times, people will get that epoxy in a garage or a warehouse, like those epoxy floors, and they're really gorgeous. But I think they're slippery too. Yeah. Although if you can do that there, I imagine you can do it with that. But that's fantastic. No, that's a great idea, Lorraine. I didn't know that. I didn't know that existed, and I will be sticking that in the permanent file. So thank you for that. All right. Very cool. Very cool. All right. So any questions on anything at all? We talked about, getting the unit inside the house. You need to have an opening, or the house gets built around it, or you need to make an opening that you can kind of put back together, which is not the end of the world, but it can happen. Oh, we got a question, Charlie. Unrelated to installs, do you have a recommendation on weight to hold you down in the spa seats? Not really. Like you were talking hot tubs. I'm assuming hot tubs. So like a lounge, if you were laying in a lounge. A couple things come to mind. I would say, you're gonna find us, as you're seeing me, bubble around, hesitant to suggest putting a weight on someone to hold them underwater as the manufacturer. So yeah, if you use 45-pound plates from the gym, that'll hold someone under the water. No, I'm just kidding. So probably not very much, but they do have, I guess I guess in a lounge situation with our jets, you can turn our
But I
jets
was just
on and
going to
off.
say, you're better off like lowering the jets lifting
right.
you.
So like we have a 7.2 over there wet that we use, for when we're completely beat to crap. Actually, we go in that thing quite a bit, every bit as much as this. So again, spoiled. Yes, we realize that. So I'll turn off the back jets in the lounge and just do my calves in the Twilight 7.2, but I can't do both of them at the same time because it'll flip me, what is it, ass over tea kettle? Tea kettle over ass? Ass over tea kettle. I don't remember. You know what I'm talking about. Right over. So I'll turn the jets, because you can manually turn them off, of the back, and then I'll do one leg at a time and kind of hold the other leg off and hold myself down with it. And that's been the best trick. And then I'm getting really great therapy. Also, I'll switch out in our 7.2 all of the lower leg jets, which is problems that we have based on the fitness crap that we conduct. I like the deep tissue jet in the lower legs, so I have those all switched out. But they're really powerful, and it will flip you over, unless you're really gigantic, which I'm not. I'm short, so just can't hold myself down in there. So I don't know that I would use a weight to hold my legs down anyway. I think you're better off with adjusting things. As far as just floating up in the seat, I mean, a little sandbag. I mean, they have scuba weights. Any of that stuff will hold you down. That's the point of scuba weights, and you don't need much. I mean, I know. I saw Carrie hop on there. She's gonna laugh. The whole time, when we were doing scuba diving often, which now everybody's just so busy except for Anthony. He's the only one who gets in there, quite a bit frequently anymore, but the rest of us are just like rarely. But I was down to 4 pounds, 6 pounds, 4 pounds, 2 pounds to hold myself, buoyant and that. So it's really not much. 10 pounds weight on your lap would hold you down. And that'll be about the most you're going to get out of me to put weight on someone underwater in one of our products. All right. Jim. Had our Trainer 15D for about a month and are absolutely loving it. It has the Master Pure system with the circ pump. I noticed that there were no factory filtration cycles set and have not added any. Is that standard with the circ pump? Yes. Water is balanced and crystal clear, 89 degrees. Yeah, Jim, if you have the circ pump, you really don't need to run filter cycles because it's running, most circ pumps are running 24 hours a day, but you can even adjust that. So you really don't need to set the individual filter cycles, as the circ pump is going to run all the time. So mine at the house.
Well, if he has the new circ pump, it won't.
That's true.
Yeah.
If it's been a month, right, your circ pump, actually, you can adjust that. So on mine, it runs 24 hours a day at home, and that's it. So on a brand new one, you can actually adjust the circ pump with the new.
But you don't have to.
You don't have to.
Yeah.
You can run it 24/7.
If it's working for you, which it seems like it
if
does,
it's working
don't
perfect, don't change a
anything.
thing. So I wouldn't add a thing. Let's see. Lorraine, my Therapool D is in my garage with a mini split and a dehumidifier.
Awesome.
That's a lot. I mean, that's a lot. Do you leave the Lorraine? Do you leave the cover off all the time, or are you putting the cover back on in there? Because that's a lot to do, to run a mini split and a dehumidifier. That's a lot. Are you guys the type that overbuild and overkill everything? Your deck has got posts like this instead of like this, because you went all in. That's awesome. So you'll never have an issue with that setup. And also, I'd like to add Therapool D, my mom's favorite. That's what she has, and it's absolutely awesome. Love that tub. Absolutely love it. All right, what do we got? We caught up? I think we're good. Do we have a...
Yeah, we do have one question that came in.
One single question. I think everybody's on vacation.
Yeah.
Lauren! Okay, Lorraine said, I don't use the cover. I put a solar cover over it instead. It was too heavy.
Yeah.
So, Lorraine, is your solar cover drape over the top, or does it just go where the water is inside the swim spa? Be curious on that, because if you are draping it over the top, it should seal up nice and tight and be waterproof when it's sealed. But of course, you're running plenty of dehumidification to take care of that anyway. So that's cool. Good for you. Matt?
I get so many emails. I'm trying to find where it is.
Wow, it's already lost?
Okay, here we go.
Okay.
This is from, I'm sorry if I ruin your name here, Manjunath
Okay.
in Kitchener, Canada. how to get moisture controlled in a closed room. I do have a swim spot in a closed room, but it fogs up when all the doors are closed. With suitable exhaust running, how could I get rid of this issue?
Me.
Go for it.
Okay. So, if you have an exhaust fan, we see this is, it's a mistake. There's no other way. It's a small mistake, but it's a mistake. If you have an exhaust fan, it's only removing air. It's not removing humidity out of the air. You're just moving some air out of the room. Okay, so it's not the same thing. We see people do that a lot, and like in a bathroom, for example, you'll have a ceiling fan that removes air totally, but it's not removing the moisture from the room. Okay, so if you see a situation where you've got an exhaust fan in a bathroom, and if you have a giant one, it might remove enough so that the mirrors don't fog up during a shower or a bath, but it really is going to depend on the size of the bathroom in that case. So it's not removing any of the moisture. So you're going to need to add if the easiest thing for you to do in this situation would be to run a portable dehumidifier when the covers are open. And that's like, it rolls in on wheels, and it's got a little, you can, some of them you can run a hose to exhaust or to drain out the condensate, and some have a little pan that you just have to empty every few days. So it just depends, but that's going to be the easiest fix and least expensive fix to what you have going on, is simple running a portable dehumidifier, and you are all set. So when your covers are open, run that, you're good to go. If you're not putting your covers back on, you'll need to get a large one of those and run it all the time. Okay, and that's how you do that. Jan said she's draping over the top, so you're in great shape, Jan. That's awesome. I mean Lorraine, sorry. Don't use the cover, put a solid right. Jan and Lorraine, I'm confusing you two here. So, sorry about that. Lauren, hey, I'm Mustachio a question. Fantastic. So please tell Andrew it's still here. And I know that his is too. So let's see. Over the top for now, draping over. Awesome. Okay. So that's the best, easiest fix on that situation. You're already in a room. I'm assuming you're not interested in running a big HVAC system or installing a mini split. If you install a mini split, will be a more expensive option that will take care of it, and a portable dehumidifier will take care of it immediately for a couple $100, and you're all set. If you're never putting the cover back on, you should get a larger one and never turn it off, because it will continue to do that, and then you're going to want to deal with a condensate drain that is automatic without you having to do the pan every couple of days, because you're going to need to check that every couple of days if you're never putting that cover on. Does that make sense? I think I answered that correctly. Okay.
I mean, just for reference, when we, obviously the swim spot inside a room, whenever we're not here, the covers are on. Every once in a while, we have left by accident the covers open, and we'll come in the next day. Everything is wet.
Yeah. Remember when we used to have the cardboard? The cardboard,
even the treadmills. We have a treadmill in here, and if you would go on the treadmill in the morning after
slippery.
It was almost impossible to use because it was wet.
Like ice, someone put oil on the belt from that much humidity in the air.
Under normal circumstances, it's open a period of time during the morning when it's being used, or in the afternoon like now.
Yep.
We close it and there's no moisture.
And these are, our ceilings are they're 20 feet.
Right, yeah.
They're nearly 20 feet, if not 20 feet. So it's not really. So Donna, do you recommend the solar cover? So if you're talking about on an indoor install by itself, I have no issue with that. It does seal up as long as the bubble side is up and the smooth side is down, because the bubble side down would actually, on the rim of the swim spa, would actually leave an air gap that could escape through. So you want sealed, but on an indoor, you really don't need the solar cover. You can just run thick plastic on indoor because it's going to seal. We did that. On the outdoor install, I wouldn't do that because you're still going to have stuff fall on it. You're still going to have, by itself I'm talking about. And I have another scenario that I'll go into next. So outdoors, I don't love it by itself. I would run a cover. But what you can do, and we've talked about this in previous lives, and I don't have an answer for you, but I'm going to do it this year. I swear to God, you guys beat the crap out of me if I don't do this at home. we had a long-time service tech tell us that it absolutely made a difference to run a solar cover underneath your regular cover outside in the winter in cold climates. And he was so confident in this, but we've never ran tests. We've never done it. I actually have the ability, if I ever check it, to see how many kilowatt hours mine is running in the winter time, and I can actually, when I do it, I can tell us for sure if it is a good solution to lowering energy cost. Which I don't, Connecticut is brutal. We're paying like 36 cents a kilowatt hour. The only state that's more expensive than this is Hawaii, which is 54 cents a kilowatt hour. But they don't have the heat demand, so it's actually more expensive to run a swim spot in Connecticut than it is in Hawaii, which is, stupid. But at the same time, it's nothing compared to the cost of running a pool, so it's still an awesome deal, and it's year-round.
Yeah.
So still a home run, but if we can lower costs and footprint, we should, right? So that's it. Okay. So that's my take on the solar cover. So by itself, outside, not a fan. In addition to a cover outside, I'm going to try that myself, so I'm a fan, tentatively. And inside by itself works great. Okay? All right. But it's got to be hung over the rim to make that seal. So draped over, a good 12, 15 inches on each side. And you want the cover, the plastic making contact with the water, because that's going to hold it in place, and then stripped over. Also, you remember this. We came into a building, the building that we had that, and there was water everywhere on the floor. Oh. And I didn't know what the heck was going on. There was a lot of water. With that plastic draped over, the waterfalls, and that was a Trainer 15, I think. We did it on a Michael Phelps Force and a Trainer 15. It was.
Signature, I think.
No, it was a Force.
Oh.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm certain. That was a Force. So the signature was inside the gym.
Oh, yeah.
So that was it, the center of town there near Rosini's.
Oh.
So if you use a plastic cover and you leave the waterfalls on, it can actually wick over the rim and force itself out. And it basically, at the rate that waterfall is on, was pushing water onto the floor outside the plastic. It wicked up and around. And if I hadn't seen it, I would have said, geez, really? I don't know. But it did it, and there was water freaking everywhere. So turn the waterfalls off. Because that was a lesson we learned the hard way. All right? So I think that's it.
So
what else?
We just stay, we'll try to keep everyone posted. In 2 weeks, we're actually going to be at the CrossFit Games with a team with the Chili Goats. So I do not think we'll be doing a Facebook Live in 2 weeks. So it may be another 3 weeks.
Maybe we could do a little weird one. That'd be fun. Because we've got Lisa there, we've got Kim there.
But keep your notifications on for us. We'll definitely let you know.
We'll let you know.
And if not, we'll see you the week after.
If you have any questions,
post them.
Ask them on here, even if you're watching this later. Still like to see where you're from. Make a comment, say hello. If you have a specific question, pop it on there, and we'll get back on here and answer them. You can also always send a message in. If you're sending a message to us directly, Master Spa's obviously massive company. Get tons of messages on Facebook. So just right on the top, please forward to Ben, please forward to Mary, and then they'll send them in, and whoever sees it, because there's a lot of people that actually have access to the messages, they will forward them over, and then we'll answer directly, which is our pleasure to do. All right, Lauren, Hattiesburg, Mississippi. Lorraine, that's cool. What temperature do you keep your swim spot at on a day like today? Lauren, I'm assuming you mean at home. So right now, my swim spot home is 89 degrees. Yes, it starts with an 8. Do you see Mary's eyebrows?
Yeah.
She's like, what the heck? I'm never going in that thing. So 89 degrees. While we were on vacation, Margaret likes it on the cooler side, so we put it down to 89 degrees for Beth's mom, who was taking care of Captain and Reggie, our puppies. Okay? So, and Mary will never go in at that temperature.
Not to just sit.
Yeah.
For sure. This one's 95 and it's very nice.
Let's see. Tracy said, all of our issues with our 19D, including the leaking problem, are finally fixed. Thank you for your optimism and encouragement. That would be addressed. Absolutely. You know, Trace, I mean, we build a lot of these, and we build so many that we're into weird statistics. It's impossible to build as many as we do without an issue here and there. Kevin Wright said this years ago, and I love it. He said, they're built in Fort Wayne, they're not built in heaven. And stuff happens, and then they're shipped, and then they're manhandled, and you know, things can loosen, issues can happen, and you know, we test them for 8 hours and put water through them, and if they just didn't notice something that was small, it's possible, but it always gets taken care of. So I'm so glad you were, didn't lose your mind, although I know it's frustrating to get something that amazing and then you have to deal with an issue or two. But it is not the norm. It's odd, so it's not the norm, and absolutely, we'll get it taken care of. Might take a little bit, but we'll get it taken care of, and then you'll just love it forever. So good for you. All right, ours is 87 master spas, so that's got
nice.
Kayla is 87. What the heck? It's so cold.
Chill it.
She's calling me a sissy right now. That's fine. I'm with you, Mary. 96 or 97 is preferred for me. That's where I mean, when we'll go in at nighttime, it's 95, 96 minimum. Sometimes I'll go 98, 99 in the wintertime, 100, 101. I'm not scared.
But even in the summertime, like at nighttime, it's going.
My mom, 96.
Yay.
Absolutely, yeah. So my mother works out. So my mother has a Therapool D. She's worked, and I work. Now all the questions are coming in, everybody. So my mom works out in the morning, but then she keeps it so it's warm enough that she's working out any weather. Does a great job, and she does her workouts in there. She's awesome shape. By the way, my mother doesn't have any freaking wrinkles on her face. On Monday, I'm staring at her. I'm like, Mom, you don't have any wrinkles on your face. What the hell? I have more wrinkles than my mother does. It's hilarious. And she's like, someone said that. See, people say that to me from time to time. Yeah, you don't have any wrinkles on your damn face. Jan said 92 in the summer. So my mom works out in the morning, but it's warm enough that she could have a little sip of wine in the afternoon or evening. So good for you. It's hot and humid here. 87 is refreshing.
Yeah, I could see that.
I mean, we do have cold tubs right there.
She does too.
I know she does. Damien, good to see you. Lisa, we were just talking about Dallas. We got to figure out if we're going to push the live a week or if we want to run a little weird live from Dallas. So in 2 weeks. So we'll think about that. Lisa said I need her secrets. All right. So I think Lisa's talking about my mother's secrets on the wrinkles.
Yes, I was just.
And she's also.
Where does she use it?
Remember we did the live, and like I haven't seen my mother in a bathing suit in I don't know a while, or maybe I don't know. It's been a while. So we did the live at her house as like the follow up a year later or something on her swim spot, and she's like all shoulders all cut and ripped, and I'm like, what the heck? No wrinkles, and she's ripped, and she's 77. So yeah, she's got some secrets out there, that's for sure. All right, we're going. Now we're late. So peace out of here. We'll see you in 2 or 3. I don't know. The powers that be haven't told us yet, but we'll do whatever they want. And if you guys have an idea, something you want to see, send them in all the time. I've got the Valeris, so I have a whole range of temperatures. Oh, nice. That's right. You do have a Valeris.
Awesome.
So you can set mid temperature, hot temperature, cold temperature. Kayla's got it all. That's fun. Charlie, we'll see you. Guys, thank you. We'll see you soon. And
Bye,
we
everybody.
appreciate you. The wrinkle secret. Lisa just said, she popped on. I don't know what it is, Lisa. I need it too.
Connie, let us know.
Yeah.
In the comments.
Yep. She's like, I use lotion. That's what she said. I asked her. She's like, I use lotion. What kind of lotion? All right. Ma, you got to tell us. All right. Love you guys. Be good.